The doctrine of creation ex nihilo, or creation out of nothing, is nowhere to be found in the Bible. It is a philosophical innovation of the late 2nd century CE. Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion, and it has long been the academic consensus that we don't find any articulation of the doctrine of creation out of nothing anywhere in the Bible. We don't find it until around 170 CE. And it develops within arguments that Christians are having with Gnostics and other Greek thinkers about the rationality of the resurrection and the morality of eternal matter. And God had long been thought of as the creator of all things, but the mechanism for that creation had never been fully fleshed out. What we see in the biblical and other literatures is the articulation of the conventional wisdom about creation being a question of bringing form and function to an uncreated and unformed material substrate. So when we see in Romans and Colossians and 2 Maccabees 7:28 and elsewhere this idea of what exists being brought into being from non-being, that's actually talking about two different states that matter can occupy. If it has no form or function, then it occupies that state of non-being. But once you apply form and function to it, it then transitions to the state of being. And then, even as Aristotle says, when it gets destroyed, it goes back to a state of non-being. So that's what we see in those early Greek texts that some people misunderstand as creation out of nothing. But it's not until the end of the 2nd century CE that we actually see Christians saying, no, it came from nothing. If you'd like to see some scholarly discussions of this topic, Gerhard May's book is widely considered probably the most authoritative. But there was also a very instructive back and forth between Jonathan Goldstein and David Winston in the Journal of Jewish Studies back in the 1980s. James Hubler's UPenn dissertation from 1994 is very thorough, has lots of great discussion in there. And then more recently, from more conservative scholars, we have an article from Marcus Bachmuel, and then an edited volume from Bachmuel as well as Gary Anderson that kind of begrudgingly acknowledge that the consensus view is that we don't have an actual articulation of the doctrine of creation ex nihilo until the late 2nd century CE, although they do make the case that we have the constituent elements, we have the building blocks of the doctrine in earlier periods, even if they are not put together to construct the edifice of the doctrine itself. Again, that does not happen until around 170 CE. And the fit for this video has been the Ninja Turtles.